I don't spend a lot of time working on high notes exclusively. If I have to truncate my practice time, I take the high note practice out. And the reason is that by working on my soft playing, I'm actually maintaining much of the skill that I am required to use for the high notes. By being able to play very softly, you're working on playing on a smaller aperture. Well, here's a way of thinking that I think is pretty useful. When you play very loudly, the aperture tends to want to blow open. So a big aperture for loud playing. When you play softly, smaller aperture. Now by aperture I mean the little part between the lips is vibrating. It's actually a hole that blows open and then slams shut. Opens and closes, opens and closes. But it only blows open a little bit for soft playing and real big for loud playing. Okay, so I'll just speak of it as though it were an aperture. Well, there's a similar thinking, and that for low notes you use a larger aperture because it's a larger wavelength for the sound wave that's produced in the horn. And for high notes, a smaller aperture. Okay, so by working on my soft playing from, say, high C on down, I'm actually maintaining my skills for playing the high notes. But it is useful and important that you at least spend some time working on them. And this is the exercise that I like to use for working on my high notes. Now, I've been playing most of this stuff on a Stage 1 California C trumpet. That's what I like to play for C trumpet. And I've been using this John Lynch asymmetric opera model mouthpiece for the first few exercises. I'm going to switch over to a Bach 1 1/4 E, and then I'm going to pull out a Stage 1 trumpet mouthpiece made by Felix Vaser, and then a Super Chops 1 by Jerry Callett, and then ultimately my John Lynch asymmetric lead model mouthpiece. So I'm going to switch mouthpieces around here for this. And my motivation in doing so is I don't want you to think that my methods and techniques are exclusively dependent on using the asymmetric trumpet mouthpiece. Most people know that that's what I endorse and that's what I use, but these ideas do work on a conventional mouthpiece as well. So I'm actually going to play these singing exercises. I'm going to skip around a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this thing together so that we can just truncate the amount of time you have to listen to it. So this is going to be kind of a spew of stuff. I will leave the first two strung together the way I actually practice them. You're going to notice that they're going to start coming fast and furiously as I cut it together in the editing room. Then I go up a half step, play the same thing. Now I'll go down a half step from the original. Okay, by the way, I think I said I'm going to Bach 1 1/4 E right now. I'm going to add the third, okay, and I'm going to switch over to my Stage 1 California mouthpieces. These are conventional, so this adds a third to the top. Now I'll run through the same sequence. Now, I'm going to take the Stage 1 California out, and I'm going to put in my Super Chops 1. Now I add the 5th. Now, I'm not going to do every one of them here, but run through the sequence, the same sequence you've heard before, adding the 5th, and by the time I do that, this is the last 2 of this stack. Now I'm going to continue the singing exercises here, but I've switched over to my B flat. This is my Stage 1 California Light B flat trumpet. Main reason is I moved into the lead type mouthpieces, and I think they sound a little harsh on C trumpet. I actually practice that stuff on C trumpet, but for the sake of not offending anybody out there in cyber world, I'm going to switch to the B flat here. Now, I took it up to what is known as stack 3, and I'm going to do stack 4, which adds the octave on top. Once again, I'm still on the conventional. It's a nice round Jerry Khaled Super Chops 1. Continuing on to the end. The next one adds another third. Continuing on through the pattern onto the end. Moving on, I'm going to stick another 5th on the top. Now finally I'm going to try for the octave on top. That's as high as I can go.